Last Christmas, 2009 it was, my dad received an electric blanket from Father Christmas. Now, I know some of you may not believe he exists, but he does. He does, because he got my dad an electric blanket. Now, you may be wondering here what Father Christmas, an electric blanket, and my dad have to do with the Circle of Fifths, and actually, you may be surprised to learn that they have an awful lot to do with it. You see, in the last session, we took a look at our Circle of Fifths, or the Circle of Fifths and counterclockwise force, if you want to call it that. And from that, we learnt how we can identify how many sharps or flats there are in any of our chosen scales. But it had a problem. It didn't tell us what those sharps or flats are. And this is where Father Christmas comes in because, well, Father Christmas got Dad an electric blanket. Let me show you what I mean by that. Let's say I want you to write in G major. You know that from this circle, it's one notch away from C, so it has one sharp. But what's the sharp? Well, if we look at our saying there, Father Christmas got Dad an electric blanket, what's the first letter of the first word? Well, the first word is father, so the first letter is an F. Therefore, the sharp in G major is an F sharp. Now, let's say I want you to write in D major. We can look at that circle there and we can immediately say that, well, it's two notches away from C, so it's got two sharps. And the first two words of our line is Father Christmas. So the two sharps in D major are F sharp and C sharp. How about A major? Well, it's three notches away from C. It has three sharps. And those sharps will basically be Father Christmas got. They'd be F, C, and G. So let's just do one more there so you get the idea of this. We'll do a B major. And first of all, we can see that that's five notches away from our C, therefore it's got five sharps in it. So we need the first five letters of our saying. Father Christmas got Dad Ann. So basically the sharps in B major are F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, and A sharp. Now basically using that technique means that as long as we can memorise this circle of fifths here and remember what Father Christmas got Dad, we can identify all the sharp keys in the scales. So no matter what scale I ask you to write, if it's moving clockwise around the circle up to 6 o'clock, you'll immediately be able to work it out by just saying Father Christmas got Dad an electric blanket. But what about the flats? Well, when we reach 6 o'clock there, you can see that we turn to enharmonic equivalents, but not much else changes. For example, let's say I want you to write in F major. Now, you know from the circle of fifths there that it has one flat because you count counterclockwise, that means flats. So we know that F major has one flat. Now, if we look at our saying there of Father Christmas got Dad an electric blanket, the F can't be flat because otherwise the scale will be called F flat major, not F major. So how do we figure out the notes when we work anti-clockwise? Well, it's a simple matter of just working through our saying backwards. We work anti-clockwise on our circle of fifths, therefore we work backwards through our saying. So if we look at our saying there of Father Christmas got Dad an electric blanket, the last word is blanket, which is a B. Therefore the flat in F major is B flat. If I were to say what are the notes in A flat major? Well, first of all, A flat major is four notches away from C, therefore it has four flats in it. Now, if we look at our saying there, we can say, well, the last four words are blanket, electric, and Dad. Therefore, the flats in A flat minor are B, E, A, and D. And basically, that's how we work out what the sharps and the flats are in a major key. Now, looking at that circle, we can not only tell how many sharps or flats there are in any key in major, we can also tell you what they are. So we no longer need this piece of paper saying these are all the notes in our major keys. And that's fine, but it only applies if you're working in a major key. And the thing is, well, we're dance musicians. We're going to spend most of our time in a minor key. How do we do that? Well, it may come as no surprise to learn that the minor scale works in much the same way as the major scale. We just have a slightly different point of reference to work from. By that I mean, if you recall, C major has no sharps or flats. It consists entirely of natural notes. So this is the natural scale in a major key. Now, if you remember Fundamental 2, when we're working in a minor key, A has no sharps or flats, and that makes that a natural scale in minor. So all we need to do basically to work out our minor keys is add another circle to this circle of fifths here and call the A 12 o'clock. So let's call up a circle here. Now, the only thing different here from the major scale is the fact that A sits at 12 o'clock rather than at 3 o'clock. That's all. Nothing else is different whatsoever. If we count clockwise around our circle, we have sharps. If we count counterclockwise, we have flats. And even the same saying of Father Christmas got Dad an electric blanket still applies in a minor key. There's no difference whatsoever working out how many sharps are flats or what those sharps or flats are from how we did it with our major keys. So for example, if we look at B there, we can see straight away that it's 2 notches away from A. There. So that means that there's 2 sharps in B minor. Now if we moved in the opposite direction and went to C, for example, we can see there that C is 3 notches away from A and therefore has 3 flats. And with our saying, we know that the sharps in B minor would be F and C for Father Christmas, and the notes in C minor would be B, E and A, which is blanket, electric, and. Now, whilst there's no difference between major and minor when we're working on this circle of fifths here, there are some important things that you have to note. Firstly, when we're working in a major key, the circle of fifths is only going to tell us the notes in natural minor. Now this is important. If you recall in the previous DVD on harmony, we didn't use the natural minor for our chords. We used a new minor scale called the harmonic minor. And to create that, we had to augment that 7th note. Well, we must remember to do the same here. After we've calculated the notes using the circle of fifths, we then need to remember to augment that 7th note to create the harmonic scale. The circle of fifths won't tell us the harmonic scale. It only tells us the natural minor scale. Now this is also important when we work with melodies, because just as harmony has its own scale, melodies have their own scale too. So when we work with the circle of fifths, we must remember to adjust notes to create our different specialist scales when we're working in a minor key. And on that note, for the next session, what I want to do is I want to investigate the melodic minor and find out why and how it's different from the natural and harmonic minor scales, because we must remember that if we're going to work in a melodic minor key, we need to adjust our circle of fifths to work it out properly.